Did you just hear my fun fact? That Richard Burton wanted to play Tevye in the film. So, yeah.
All right.
All right.
It is 6:15. If you're at home, you're sitting here wondering what we talk about before services, different Jewish actors and actresses.
Yes, except Richard Burton wasn't Jewish, but that's okay. Welcome, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. We're so glad that you're with us. What a day it was today. Oh, my goodness. If you had a chance to stay home, I hope you did. If you had to go out in the world, I hope you were nice and cozy and warm inside, because this was a day just to really pull the covers over your head. And for those of you who are celebrating Shabbat at home in the warmth of your house, I hope you are comfortable, you're relaxed, you have maybe a glass of wine and a prayer book open, and you'll join us for Shabbat in song. And we welcome everybody who's here. Let's just give a little Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
No, I mean with some vigor. I mean with some ruach. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, there you go. So, all right.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
This is a very special Shabbat. I hope if you're at home right now, you can see the beautiful flowers that adorn in front of our bima. They are gorgeous, and they are here because tomorrow morning we're going to call Daniel Mansour to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. So we're very excited about that. And in sort of preparation for that moment and in celebration of that moment, we'd like to invite the Mansours to come and light the candles and welcome God's light for Shabbat. I'm going to put on my mask, that's right. And we begin our service on page 121. Sharon, you can leave your book behind because I have my book right here. Yes, I do. In the words of Ursula, yes, I do. Come over here. And either one that you'd like.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As the brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
We join together now in prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you. Our service now continues on page 128 as we welcome our Shabbat with song. Please join us in joyous harmonies. Page 128.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחיות גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
matov
umanayim shevet achayot gam yachad. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be
together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is.
be together on this day. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum.
Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achiyot gam yachad. We continue now on page 142. Again, the message of Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum, the message of peace be upon us, peace be with all of us, is a universal message. It's such a joy when you're walking through the streets of Jerusalem on Erev Shabbat, and you're on your way to shul, and people who wouldn't give you the time of day during any other time, they say, Shalom Aleichem, Shabbat Shalom. Aleichem Shalom. And it just feels like we're one people celebrating this beautiful Shabbat. Peace be upon all of us as we sing together, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Borechem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni b'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch.
Page 144, our service continues with the Chetzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, B'yama divrach Yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, uv'izman karim, V'meru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach, Le'alam l'olam me'amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, V'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, Shemei d'Kudasham
Barechu,
Le'la min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran be'alma, v'meru. Amen. We rise to the Baruch Hu, page 146.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake?
la 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 la, ya 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 la la.
Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared?
You may be seated. I think one day, David, we'll do a healing service, and we'll just sing that ooh, and the whole time, like 30, 40 minutes. And people will just close their eyes and meditate and sing to your beautiful guitar and hear your voice, and it'll be lovely and healing and bring strength and courage to all the people who need healing. Page 149, we pray at the middle of the page together. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother and my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother and my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. Page 150, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta, otanu lemadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shtochbeinu, ufkumenu na'asiyah b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'yorech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla. Ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael.
On Tuesday night, our congregation and the Native American community here in Rhode Island said goodbye to our friend Whippoorwill. And I was at the funeral, and Rabbi Klein spoke beautifully about Whippoorwill and about their friendship over the years. And the spirit of Whippoorwill was there. She brought a sense of oneness to wherever she went. And there was all this beautiful chanting and drumming, and people offered prayers from the native community. And we offered prayers to ourselves. And she bridged those worlds, because for her there was no bridge. It was just hands held, arms extended, hugs given, hugs received. It was a truly echad moment. That's why we pray the Shema, to remind us of our connection, not only with God, but with each other. And I hope, with all those who don't say the Shema, just because we are at one. Tomorrow, as we call Daniel Mansour to the Torah, I know what I'll be feeling. That sense of oneness and sense of connection between the generations, and that sense of connection between peoples. Please rise as Daniel lead us in the Shema and then the V'ahavta.
Should I take off my mask?
Yes, please.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malachuto, Leolam Vaed.
And you may be seated.
All right, please join us on page 154 for the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom Olivavecha Vishiantam Livanecha Vidibarta Bam Beshivtecha Vetecha Uvlechtecha Vaderech Uvshofbecha Vikumecha Ukshartam Leot Al Yadecha Vehayu Etertafot Beineinecha Uchtabtam al mizazot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Beautifully done, Daniel. Thank you. There'll be more of that tomorrow. You want to be here. So we continue now on page 157. We pray together at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. The winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158, the Michamoka.
Yai, dai, 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 dai. Kamocha bailim Adonai, kamocha nedar bakodesh, Torah tehilot oseh peled, Torah tehilot oseh peled. Malechutzecha ra'u b'anecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eliyanu ve'amru. It's funny when I have a pick down here. I'm going to grab it. It's funny when I think about Micha Mocha, I have these different images in my head. Every time it's different. This time it's a contest between all the gods. And well, your God can do this. Well, my God can do this. Your God your God can do that. We talk about our God rising above and being apart. In Judaism, we set things apart. That's how we show that they're different. And so in this moment, we needed God to show us to step up and sort of prove it. I need that in this moment. And in different moments, you need different things from God. And sometimes you need to feel free and to feel like you can celebrate and be joyous. And sometimes, eventually, you'll fall asleep. And we hope that when we get up, that and we're kept safe throughout that night.
In my sermon tonight, I will reference that moment of Micha Mocha, of standing at the sea, watching the water come back, and what Judaism actually, how we feel about that moment, how we feel about dancing and singing at Micha Mocha. So may we be safe, may we be sound.
I also think about people being there for each other in difficult moments. And so if you'll indulge me, we'll start the Hashkivenu a little bit differently tonight and then fall into one that you recognize. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light you'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. And let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from thy storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from thy storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu Leshalom. Did you sing the Hebrew? Or that one, let there be love. Let there be love and understanding among us. Stand by me, won't
See, if we do that song in Hebrew, you could just do one word. Omadi. Done. Stand by me. All right, stand with me.
I learn something new every day I stand next to you, Rabbi.
We now move to the Shamroo for the lighter portion of our service. And if you want to stand or twirl or just dance, or like when we say La Sot Et HaShabbat, you could twirl around and sort of just experience the joy of Shabbos, just like that. Yeah. And I'm going to do the same and try not to be too dizzy. Yeah, and or Molly's gonna do this. Molly's gonna do the no, you're gonna dance. But you could do that. You could do the whole, this means keep going, So there you go. In the Charlie Brown Christmas, this is the signal for keep going, right? That's what Charlie Brown, he's directing the play, says. Yeah, but they never do that. So there you go.
Wah, 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 wah.
Shamroo v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasod
Et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam.
Shamroo v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasod
Et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Beni u'bnei Yisrael Oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Shamroo v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasod et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai
et hashamayim et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabbat lasod
et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam.
v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabbat lasod et hashabbat ledoratam berit olam.
And as the rabbi pointed out to me, and we need to be pointed out to us regularly in life, Vayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabbat
Lasod et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam.
Shamroo v'nei Yisrael et hashabbat
Lasod et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam.
I'd ask you now to rise for the Amidah, page 164. Little Hendrix feet back there.
Adonai sifatai tiftach uvi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, V'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevi geula livnei v'neihem, l'man shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham v'ezras Sarah.
Page 168.
Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah rav v'hoshia.
Mashiv haruach
umorid agashem, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim.
Somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michal mocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'chayot hakol. Baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalelucha selah. Baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. We continue now as we pray together on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat. We're going to continue now on page 177. Page 177 as we give our thanks to God. Please join me with our prayer for thanksgiving on page 177 at the top. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha na'eh lehodot. Page 178, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon L'chol hashalom, ki atahu melech adon. L'chol hashalom, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav v'Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Please take a few moments now for silent prayer and the meditation in your hearts.
Say shalom, oh say shalom, bimroma, bimroma, oh say shalom, oh say shalom, bimroma. Say shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael imru amen. Say shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Say shalom, oh say shalom, bimroma, bimroma, oh yeah, say shalom, aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Say shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael amen. Oh say shalom, oh say shalom, bimroma.
This evening, as we get ready to say the Mishaberach, I need to say a healing prayer for our movement, the Reform movement. You may not know this, but we only have just one ordaining body of Reform rabbis, Hebrew Union College, where I attended, where David has a master's degree and where I was ordained from. And as a result of allegations that have come to light, there was a full-blown investigation of the institution for the past, actually more than 40 years. And it's very painful to hear about the institution that I love and that gave me the education that enabled me to do what I'm doing. To hear about its deep institutional flaws and abuse of some students and faculty. And I pray for healing for both the institution, for our movement, but most of all for those who suffered at the hands of the abusers at the institution. And I pray that we will always be a movement and, of course, a religion that is unafraid to confront its past, unafraid to come to terms with abuses of power and abuses of body and mind. And I pray that we'll be able to do teshuvah and the people who need to do that. And so for our movement and for those who are in need of healing, my prayers go out to you and to everyone in our movement in need of healing. Are there people in your lives who are in need of healing in our congregation? Please feel free to say those names aloud. And also thinking about this week, Stanley Cantor, for Lee Glantz, for our friend Ann Meinson, for Alexis Hafkin. Alexis, we hope you're doing okay and that you're on the road to recovery. And of course, our friend Paul Siegel as well. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, God, healer of the sick. We turn now to page 371 and pray the Mishaberach together. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha V'Imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Ashechianu, I know one that's Susan Rubin. Susan, can you say what the Shechianu in your family is, for your extended family? Daniel's bar mitzvah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that was someone front. I was thinking.
Oh.
I thought you meant something.
Yeah.
Daniel's bar mitzvah.
That's right, Daniel's bar mitzvah. I just called on Daniel's aunt Susan, and I must be. I'm sorry to have surprised you that way. I just thought, there you go. So mazel tov to the Mansour family and all the extended family. And if your guests are watching tonight, if they're streaming live, we'll see you tomorrow and look forward to calling Daniel to the Torah. So that's a pretty big Shechianu right there.
Daniel may have been ready for his bar mitzvah 3 years ago, but he's definitely ready now. We're really excited for you, buddy.
We are.
You've worked really hard.
Anyone else have a Shechianu moment they want to share? A birthday, an anniversary, something fun that's happened? Oh, Soren, you're always good for a Shechianu. Thank you.
I have two.
Two. Give me the one first.
Yesterday, it was my dad's birthday.
Woohoo! Mazel tov to Jacob Breyer.
And the day before, I got my COVID vaccine.
Yay! Mazel tov on that. Jacob, how did your family celebrate your wonderful birthday?
We had takeout from Greg's for lunch. Favorite birthday cake that I've had every year.
What kind of birthday cake was it?
Greg's chocolate layer cake.
Oh my gosh, so
How
good.
many years have you done?
That was 4.
Wow.
Okay,
Since
that's-
you were 4.
26 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe 27, but yeah. But who's counting? Yeah, go ahead.
And then Danny and I went out to dinner.
Ooh, and I happen to know where you went for dinner, and I'm excited to hear about what you had and how it was. So we'll look forward to that after the service. All right, that's a pretty exciting one. Thank you, Soren, for sharing that. All right, well, that's pretty great. Let's do it.
Others? Anything else?
All right.
I'll add that it's really nice to see some faces that I haven't seen in a little bit in the congregation. We're always grateful when people can be here in person. And so in case you're wondering, how many people actually come to services? It's not quite standing room only. You can still come, but there are a lot of people here.
There are, you could still come if, like, maybe not on a night like tonight because it was kind of nasty out tonight. But on other nights, we'll be here. And I'll tell you about next week when we get there to announcements because it's kind of a special service next week. Okay, so let's sing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh So for the kids who are here, this is kind of a grown-up sermon, but at least you'll have a new vocabulary word that you can use and you'll want to use all the time. This sermon, by the way, was inspired by our Lunch and Learn class, which is always such a source of intellectual stimulation for me and gives me lots of wonderful ideas to write about. So, as many of you know, our Lunch and Learn class has been studying Pirkei Avot, which means the sayings of the fathers. These ancient Jewish texts, found in the collection of Jewish law known as the Mishnah, may have been written in the 2nd or maybe the 3rd century CE, but the rabbi's wisdom still speaks to us in very contemporary ways. Last week we studied chapter 4, verse 19, which says in part, quote, "Rejoice not when your enemy falls. Let not your heart be glad when another stumbles," unquote. This sentiment might be expressed today in the form of an evocative German word called Schadenfreude. I'm probably not doing it justice, but that's as best as I can do. Schadenfreude. Which roughly translated means the delight one feels in another's misfortune. This is a feeling, of course, that most of us at one time or another experience, but it is a feeling that Judaism expressly condemns. How do we know this? Well, consider how the feeling of Schadenfreude is built into the fabric of one of our most important ritual moments. At the parting of the Sea of Reeds, Miriam and the people rejoice in song and dance, as we did during Micha Mocha, and they do so as the Egyptians drown. As we experience the moment of Schadenfreude, our delight in the Egyptians' death, God admonishes us, wondering how we could possibly celebrate when God's own children, the Egyptians, are suffering. God's condemnation is forever seared into our memories through the dramatic Passover Seder ritual of removing wine drop by drop from our cups, remembering how the Egyptians suffered during the 10 plagues. Even without the passage of Pirkei Avot, we've been condemning Schadenfreude at our Seder tables for centuries. These days, the feeling of Schadenfreude hits us closer to home than most of us would prefer. I've spoken to many friends who've expressed the following sentiment, a sentiment that many of you might have thought about, at least fleetingly. It goes something like this. If you've refused to be vaccinated and now you've gotten sick, well, that's your problem. Or as a friend from Canada wished for, and remember, healthcare is completely free in Canada. If someone refuses to be vaccinated and they've been hospitalized for COVID, guess who gets the bill? That's their wish, even though that's, of course, not happened. Such feelings are natural, part of our DNA. We say to ourselves, we all did what we were supposed to do to protect ourselves and others. And now I should have sympathy for those who refuse to do the same? Another example. Some of our neighbors on the Gulf Coast, like let's say in Florida or Texas, continue to be pummeled by Mother Nature with so-called 100-year floods and hurricanes, which now occur every year or two. Our tax dollars, it feels like multiple times a year, bail them out of these biblical cataclysms year after year. We watch the same footage with the same sad people who've lost their homes. It's like watching Groundhog Day, but on CNN. But instead of responding to the obvious impact of climate change, instead of working diligently to reduce the frequency of these climate change disasters, if not for them, then at least for their children, they elect or re-elect the same climate change deniers who continue with deliberate intention to undermine our planet's future. I'm sorry, but after the next 100-year flood, there's a part of me that wants to say, until you begin to face what's really going on here, we're not coming down to bail you out. The federal gravy train is over. It's not truly schadenfreude. I'm not delighting in their misery, but there have to be some consequences for the choices that they are making. But even as I think these thoughts, my Jewish values, the ones that have been passed down and internalized over the centuries, keep me grounded. Judaism teaches me to control these feelings, to minimize these emotions, so that I will never find myself reveling in someone else's misfortune. Schadenfreude is simply not our way. My greatest fear, however, is that Schadenfreude is becoming the defining attitude of American life. In a recent op-ed by the New York Times columnist David Brooks, he observed that certain groups of people, African Americans, Irish, the Italians, and most certainly the Jews, responded to the humiliation of bigotry and exclusion with both ambition and creativity, turning the slings and arrows of prejudice into a catalyst for success and achievement. Quote, much of the drive and dynamism of American life comes from humiliated people saying, we'll show them who we are. They become creative minorities along the lines prescribed by the prophet Jeremiah. Keep your culture and ways, but settle down in this new land. Build houses and gardens. Give your sons and daughters away in marriage. Seek the peace and the prosperity of this new place. Unquote. But Brooks also knows that humiliation doesn't stop at our borders. Indeed, such humiliation is a feature of the American experience. He writes, quote, we're pretty good at humiliating one another even after we've been here for years. The ongoing humiliation of daily racism, the condescension toward the middle American working class, the bigotry that forces gays into the closet, the crude caricatures of evangelical Christians, unquote. Notice the rhetorical balance of his views. Yes, there's racism, Republican, but there's also condescension, Democratic elites. There's LGBTQ bigotry from the right, but there's also crude caricatures of evangelicals from the left. The problem is that Brooks's both sides do this journalism fails to address the salient issues at hand. Even if the left is guilty of condescension and caricature, their votes, their political activities are cast in search of an inclusive democratic solution. Voting rights for everyone. Public health for everyone. A greener future for everyone. Greater access to education and childcare for everyone. But sadly, all too often, on the other side, Schadenfreude appears to be both the means and the end. The explicit denial of voting rights to minorities, the explicit denial of the efficacy of vaccinations, the explicit denial of climate change, the explicit denial of the personal and civil rights of women and LGBTQ citizens, Indeed, the message of January 6th wasn't just an insurrection against democracy. It was a vile outcry of Schadenfreude, a twisted attempt to humiliate our nation's elected officials and, by extension, our democracy. It was a statement of curdled values, an inversion of what our founding documents have stood for more than 2 centuries. We didn't come to Washington to search for solutions. We came here to humiliate. We came here to break things. If we are going to find our way out of this mess, if we are going to be once again a nation capable of vision and creativity, we must work toward a fairer, more egalitarian nation, a society based not on exclusion, but inclusion. But most of all, we need to leave our Schadenfreude behind and heed these remarkable words of unity. Rejoice not when your enemy falls. Let not your heart be glad when another stumbles. Unquote. May these words from the rabbis be a vision and an inspiration to us as we do the difficult work of rebuilding our fragile nation. Shabbat Shalom. Our service now continues on page 586, and we rise for the Elenu, page 586. And Daniel, why don't you come up and join us here for Elenu? Yeah, I like that. Sorry. Just because. Want to open here? You stand between us.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'arasot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. 591. V'nemar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. At this time, we remember those who died in recent days, those whose families are in the midst of Shiva and Shloshim. We also recall those who died at this time in years past, those who are observing a yurtzeit. If you should hear the name of a loved one, please feel free to rise so we may acknowledge your status as a mourner. At the conclusion of the Kaddish list, we will all rise together, joining in support of those who are mourning. In Shiva and Shloshim, we remember Paul Berger, beloved brother of Sammy Bachman, brother-in-law of Richard Bachman. We remember Camila Uribe Benito Revoyo, beloved cousin of Denise Glickman. We remember our friend Whippoorwill, Margaret Eileen Carullo, beloved sister of Ron Smith, beloved stepmom of Michael and Stephen Carullo, a dear friend of Bert Gunn, as well as a dear friend to many from Lunch and Learn and, of course, from Erev Shabbat. We also recall those who died at this time in years past, those who are remembering a yahrzeit. We remember Harry Bachman, beloved father of Richard Bachman. Saul Brofman, beloved father of Thomas Brofman. Rita Ehrlich, beloved mother of Mark Ehrlich. Harry Horn, beloved father of Rosalie Franks. Santina Alba, beloved grandmother of Santina Ventimiglia Fortunato. Billy Knight, beloved grandfather of Jason Knight. Beatrice Knopf, beloved mother-in-law of Carol Knopf. Grace Mark, beloved grandmother of Alyssa Martin. Ira Mincer, beloved father of Michael Mincer. Werner Valk, beloved father of Stephen Valk. And Jean Winter, beloved mother of Elena Winter. If you're observing in the midst of a one-year mourning, please feel free to rise now. And we now ask the congregation to join us in rising and in blessing the name of God. We turn to page 598 and pray the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma dibrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayei chon u'vyom echon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal. Shemei d'kudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen.
Please be seated. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
All right, just want to say, first of all, Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And I want to say thank you to our greeter, Dr. Chuck Sherman. Thank you, Chuck, for being here to greet everybody. We so appreciate it. And if you want to be a greeter, it's one of the most wonderful mitzvahs to do. You come, you say hi to everybody who comes in, you check them off. It's wonderful. And you welcome them. So please feel free to sign up to be a greeter. Tomorrow, we will welcome Daniel to the Torah. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. Feel free to be here to hear an extraordinary chanting and teaching by Daniel. I'm so excited about that. So after this evening's service, Daniel, hopefully you'll go home and have a good night's rest. And look forward to seeing you in the morning. Okay, so religious school will happen on Sunday morning at 9:30, and we'll be here. Look forward to religious school at beginning Sunday at 9:30 for tefillah. And I know it seems.
Oh, can I say one thing about
Please do. Yes.
Religious school will have two special guests. Toby Weiser will be subbing for me in 3rd and 4th grade, and Amit Oren, who is our shaliach, our Israeli emissary, through the incredible generosity of the Jewish Alliance of Greater Rhode Island. They have an emissary come here, a shaliach or shlicha, come here each year, 1 or 2 years, for 1 or 2 years. And they're just incredible. If you think about what Israel is to you in an older generation, it's because of people like Amit and our past shlichim that continue to bring Israel to life for our students. And so it's a huge deal, and I'm really grateful to the Alliance for providing that.
We look forward to welcoming Amit on Sunday morning, and he will be taking my class. So, Daniel, you're going to take the day off? What do you think? Yeah, okay. We'll give you the day off. All right. Okay, fine. And but he'll be meeting with our class and talking about Israel. And
You know who's not taking the year off?
no,
June Poses.
June Poses is not taking the year off. She doesn't even take the day off.
Yeah.
June is our stalwart sisterhood representative. She is womaning the gift shop, and let's say you need Hanukkah candles, and I bet many of you do, because it's coming up. It's like literally like Thanksgiving, Hanukkah. Like there is no respite, and so it's like turkey and latkes. Turkey and latkes. That's going to be like the theme. And what?
Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Yeah, like that. And so you need those things. So what you do is you can just look at your e-blast, and there'll be like order forms in the e-blast, and then you have virtual Hanukkah shopping, and then you know what happens? It's delivered to your door. It's like so cool.
And June has a tagline this year, a slogan: "No order is too small." So in case you're thinking, I'm just going to grab a bag of gelt from the CVS, do everybody a favor, shop local.
Right.
And
So-
help us out.
No need to go on Amazon this year for your Hanukkah merchandise. Or as I like to say, from Michael's. No, I'm not going to. Okay. Just forget it. Okay. So also save the date for three Hanukkah programs. 1, menorah lighting and Zoom concert with our very own David Perlman on Wednesday, December 1st at 5:30. Yay. Can't wait for that. A Temple Habanim and PJ Library pajama Rock a Baby concert Saturday, December 4th at 5:30 p.m. Just want to give you a little preview here, folks. A lot of people feel that when adults come to a pajama party, they should not be in pajamas. I feel differently. I will be in my pajamas, ready to sit on the floor and enjoy Rock a Baby. That is what I'm doing. Maybe I will bring a stuffy with me as well.
Maybe we'll wear matching pajamas.
Ooh, I doubt it.
I doubt
Do you
it.
have special Hanukkah pajamas? Okay.
Not yet.
All right. Well, if you don't, then we won't be. No, I'll wear my Star Wars pajamas as I usually do. So, Star Wars pajamas?
Never heard of that movie.
Listen, you never heard of Richard Burton, so don't be talking here. All right. So that's the second thing, and the third thing is there's going to be an Olive Beats concert.
Who are the Olive Beats?
The Olive Beats are like a brown a cappella Jewish singing group, and they're going to be singing with us on December 5th at 11:15. So if the weather allows, we may be outside, but maybe not. The Olive Beats sound great. I've heard them before. They're amazing. So we're going to do that. And finally, if you are a member of the Caring Committee, we always need your help. Sign up on the e-blast. We always need, meals and maybe appointments and driving and shopping for things people need. We are a caring community, so please sign up for that. And we do not have anyone here between the ages of 20 and 26, I don't think.
Never know. Maybe at
Maybe
home.
Jacob Breyer is very close. Yeah.
But
maybe at home.
Yeah, the program started after I went to Israel for the first time. But Birthright is an incredible organization that allows Jews to go to Israel for free within a certain age group. And I know that a lot of the people behind me in school, a couple of years behind me in school, went on this and credit this for changing their outlook on Judaism altogether.
Absolutely. So this is when you're between the ages of 20 and 26, they're going to do all kinds of outdoor experiences, which you can do so much of in Israel. So, more time on the go, less time on the bus. That's what they advertise. So that is great. All right, and remember, when you leave, please put your prayer books back on the seats. All right? Excellent. And then we encourage you, here we go, we encourage you to continue your conversations outside, and remember to maintain social distancing. Okay, all right. Daniel, Jenny, come on up for Motzi and Kiddush. Yeah. Getting you ready for tomorrow. All right. Who's going to say Kiddush? You'll both say it. Okay. Jenny, do you want to hold the? Okay. All right. Do you want to take off your mask while you drink the from the Kiddush cup? It'll be better. It'll be better that way. More tasty. Okay, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Amen. L'chaim.
Excellent. You want to give your brother some too? You're in the same. Oh, all right. Okay. You know, you are in the same pod, so to speak. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Save me first. Okay. All right. Well, this beautiful challah comes to us tonight for this Shabbat, for a special for Daniel and for his family, and thanks to the Western family. Kind of come up to the bima there. Yeah.
Right?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. B'te'avon.
Te'avon. You can just have
There,
some.
you can put it down. You can whatever you want to do.
I'll
If you
just,
want to
and then I'll just take a
Yeah,
little.
there you go.
This.
Yeah.
It's tricky these days.
I booby trapped the bima with like explosives. So it's like you're like afraid to come near the bima here. It's like,
You
no,
can
it's
take
not.
this one home
I
so that
refuse
you
to,
have
but
it.
I can't.
Great.
Okay.
I heard from a little birdie that maybe we'll even be able to have wine, juice and challah soon at religious school too. So,
Hey. All right. Thank you so much.
which means that maybe onags are coming too. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
I have to find that bird again. Okay. Great.
When
You guys
we
can
have
go
our
ahead and
first
sit down.
oneg,
Thank you so much.
I'm saying Shechianu because it'll be my first oneg.
That's so bizarre. It's crazy.
2 years into it. All right. All right, David. How will we close this wonderful, wonderful service?
Okay. How about 625, page 625.
Ooh,
Adon Olam,
going traditional.
going traditional.
All right.
It's interesting, if you only play new songs, then some of the songs that existed and were classics don't continue with the next generation. And I think that was a nice time to make sure that we are specific about what we're doing. If we
Hey.
want our students and our children to know our tradition, we need to teach it to them. And so that's one of the ways I want to do that here.
How about we do call and response to Don Olam?
I love it. Let's do
Okay,
it.
let's do it.
Well,
All right, but
you
you
wanna
got
lead it?
yeah,
You lead it.
sure. But you got to be really, a lot of ruach here, a lot of spirit. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Ready? Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nivra,
Li'et Nasa,
Li'et Nasa,
B'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'achare Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nivra,
Li'et Nasa,
Li'et Nasa,
V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad, V'ein Sheni, L'am Shilo L'achbira Adon Olam, Bili Reshit, Bili Tachlit, V'lo Haoz V'hamisra Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir
Li'et Nasa,
Nasa,
V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzorchev li beitzara Adon Olam, V'hu nisi umanos li, Menakosi b'yom ekra Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam.
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach.
B'terem Kol,
Terem Kol.
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nibra.
Li'et Nasa,
Li'et Nasa.
B'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Biyado Avkid Ruchi, B'et Isha V'ya'ira Adon Olam, B'im Ruchi, Giviyati, Adonai li v'lo ira Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam.
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach.
B'terem Kol,
Terem Kol.
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nibra.
Li'et Nasa,
Li'et Nasa.
B'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Have a great evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.